Joe Biden was busy fundraising in Houston Thursday the old-fashioned way by attending two small, private fundraisers. One was held in River Oaks, home of the city's millionaires and billionaires, and the other was in a suburban community with a mostly African-American crowd. He delivered a different message during the two gatherings. Among the rich and powerful of Houston in the River Oaks home of a successful attorney during his first stop, Biden emphasized that he's spending time in Texas because he wants to help turn Texas back into a blue state, or something. I've been spending a fair amount of time in Texas, you all, and I hope I can be helpful, can win back the state of Texas, the legislature and senator. Among those in the crowd of about 130 donors and supporters were Harris County District Attorney Kim Ogg, former Houston Mayor Bill White, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, and Houston Police Chief Art Acevedo. His remarks lasted about 30 minutes. Perhaps Joe pro quo should concentrate on his own primary race and work on Texas's political landscape later. He touted his 40-plus years as a lawmaker with an emphasis on foreign policy. He told the River Oaks donors that he has spoken to every single world leader in the last 45 years. This election requires somebody who on day one can stand behind the podium on Jan. 2021 and command the respect of the world, Biden said. I've met every single world leader in the last 45 years. I know them by their first names and they know me. Biden has a historically poor track record on foreign policy. Over the years, I've come to support the exact opposite of whatever Joe Biden recommends because he is usually always on the wrong side of an issue. Biden went on to lump together Putin, Kim Jung-un, and President Trump as three world leaders who do not want Biden to win the 2020 election. Joe Biden adds, I find myself the object of affection of three really interesting guys. Jeremy Wallace, at Jeremy S. Wallace, January 17, 2020. The former vice president predicted that if Trump wins re-election, NATO will end within Trump's second term. As I said, Biden is usually always wrong about foreign policy, and the world in general. President Trump has, in fact, successfully pressured NATO members to pay their dues and he seems to have a good working relationship with the Secretary-General of NATO, Jens Stoltenberg. But, hey, he got to imply that Trump is a bad actor, just like Putin and Little Rocket Man. Wow. In Houston, former VP Joe Biden warns that if Democrats don't take the White House, he predicts NATO will end in the next 4 years. Jeremy Wallace, at Jeremy S. Wallace, January 17, 2020. Biden even implied Trump is mentally unstable, using the drone attack that killed Jen. Soleimani when he said, he still has another 9 or 10 months, God knows what can happen. Biden also fretted about Trump's decision to kill Iranian Quds Force Commander Qasem Soleimani earlier this month, saying the two nations are now at risk of a full-blown conflict. We're at the brink of a war with Iran. I've said this before. What worries me most about Trump is the more the walls close in on him, the more erratic he's going to become, he said. And I predicted it. Folks, we got to turn this around quickly. He still has another 9 or 10 months, God knows what can happen. In Houston, former VP Joe Biden says as the walls close in on Trump, the more erratic he's going to become. He still has another 9 or 10 months, God knows what can happen. Jeremy Wallace, at Jeremy S. Wallace, January 17, 2020. Biden played the wounded father card when he pointed a finger at President Trump for the heat his son Hunter is feeling. But never mind him and his family, it's all about America and the healing that will be needed in a post-Trump world. The next president is going to have to be able to not only be a fighter, but a healer, Biden said. They say I don't know much about this Republican Party, but look, they've gone after my only surviving son with lies. They've gone after me in ways that I don't think anybody's seen in a long time, and I understand them. But it's not about my family. It's about you. It's about the American people. It's about understanding we got to move on. We have to heal the country. Biden's message was a little different during the fundraiser in spring. He was all about calling Trump a racist. You may remember that Biden referenced the Charlottesville protest between Nazis, white supremacists, and local residents as the reason he felt compelled to run for president. The twisting of Trump's words at the time of that event have been hashed over, but the left, including Biden, used the protest as an example of Trump's alleged racism. So, Biden brought it up during the second fundraiser. Biden was all about foreign policy, experienced leadership, and describing Trump as an unstable world leader for the River Oaks crowd. For the African-American audience in spring, he focused on racism and inequality. He is a seasoned politician, you know. He knows his audiences. The former vice president mingled with supporters and snapped selfies before heading to a second fundraiser in spring. Mayor Sylvester Turner was in attendance. Biden addressed racism and inequality in front of a largely African-American group of supporters. "This is a man, Trump, who talks about African-Americans with such disrespect, it's disgusting," Biden said. "But we're at an inflection point. We're at a place where the American people have been awakened," the former vice president told supporters. "This is an inflection point in American history. I thought you could defeat hate, but it only hides." And then came along 2017 and this president of the United States, when asked the night that young woman was killed, he said, "I think there were fine people on both sides. Folks, hate doesn't go away, it just hides," said Biden. "When it's given oxygen it comes out, and nobody knows it more than this community." I would argue that Biden's words about Trump are disgusting. Biden says American people have been awakened, but it was during Obama's administration that the Black Lives Matter movement rose up. The Obama-Biden administration did not make strides in healing racial divides in our country. And, as far as rising up goes, it was during the Obama administration that the Tea Party movement was formed and held huge nationwide rallies to protest Obamacare, among other fiscal issues. During the Trump administration, African Americans are experiencing the lowest unemployment rates ever and are reaping the benefits of a strong economy, as all other Americans are doing. Biden may want to portray himself as the great white healer, but his rhetoric betrays him. Let's block ads. Why?